In the last video, we saw how to create a EC2 instance and deploy an application into it. In this video, we are going to see how to use Amazon's Elastic Bean Stalk, which is nothing but a platform as a service offering from Amazon, and we will try to deploy our application into an EC2 instance via that. So how does it look like? AWS Beanstalk is a platform as a service offering. So you don't have to create your EC2 instance manually. Instead, Beanstalk will do that for you. So how does it happen? Underneath it obviously creates a EC2 instance. We are going to deploy a Tomcat application. So we are going to deploy a WAR application into a Tomcat. So EC2 container will be created with Linux and Tomcat in it. And we will be deploying our web application onto this particular EC2 instance. So we won't directly deploy to an EC2 instance. It will be done by Elastic Beanstalk. So we are going to use Amazon's AWS Console in order to deploy this application. Also, how do we access this application? Automatically, the Elastic Load Balancer redirects the particular IP address by maps it to a corresponding URL which will be created as a part of the Beanstalk. So that is how we are going to access this application. And the WAR file which we deploy, that will be pushed to the S3 bucket. So that will be present in the S3 bucket always, and you can reuse by creating multiple Beanstalk instances by pointing to the same S3 instance. So let's see how we can deploy a web application into the AWS infrastructure in this particular video. Let's get started.
Press the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss any update from Tech Primers.
As usual, I am the start.spring.io. I want to create a Spring Boot application but with a packaging of type WAR so that I can deploy it into a Tomcat which can run inside a EC2 instance. So I'm going to use this start.spring.io to generate a Spring Boot project. I'm going to name it as AWS Beanstalk example 1. I need Spring MVC because I'm just going to enable one REST endpoint so that we can see what's happening. Also, I'm going to enable the actuator so that we can see the health of the process. Also, I need to change the packaging type to WAR. So I'm just changing it from jar to WAR and hitting the generate option. So this will generate a Spring Boot application which will be of type WAR. So let's unzip this project. So unzip is successful. Let me open it in IntelliJ. So the project is now open here. Let's try adding a new REST endpoint. Apart from that, we are not going to add or delete anything else. So I'm just going to add a new REST endpoint called hello controller. So this is just a hello resource which I'm going to create so that we can hit this REST endpoint from the AWS instance. So I'm going to use the REST controller. I'll use the REST request mapping. This is using Spring MVC, so I'm just using the Spring MVC annotations. I'm just creating a REST endpoint called hello, and I'll just create a get mapping. It'll be just a string return type. Hello from Tech Primers. Hello from YouTube. I'll just say hello from YouTube. This will be printed. This will be sent back when we are hitting the hello REST endpoint. Also, we already have the AWS. Also, we already have the actuators enabled, so we can hit them as well. I'll just meanwhile package this particular artifact. Meanwhile, we can go to the AWS console. So I already have the AWS account created. I have like 1 year subscription free account. So you can also try it. You just need to link your credit card. There will be like 2 rupee deduction or something, and you'll be able to access your AWS console for a year, and you can have like free benefits. So I'm going to create a Elastic Beanstalk instance. So we are going to use the Elastic Beanstalk. So I'm going to create a new application here, and I'm going to name it as hello-youtube. I'm just going to name it as hello-youtube. Let's go and see what happens. Inside the application, you can now create an environment. So I'm going to create a new a web deployment, right? So I'm going to create a web server. That's what this is. And I'm selecting the web server. Here you can give the environment name. I'm just going to give the same name. I'm not going to give a different name. I'm just going to say hello YouTube. So the domain also will be replaced with the same name. Also, I'm going to use a pre-configured environment. Like how I mentioned, I'm going to use the EC2 instance with the Tomcat instance. I need to mention only Tomcat here. So EC2 instance by default will be created and Tomcat will be added to the container where it is getting deployed. Also here, I'm going to use the code which I just created, right? So whatever var file we just generated, I'm just going to give that. So under the target folder, we should have the var generated. Yes, I think the var is just now got generated. So the build is successful and we have the var here. I'm just going to upload this var. So I'm just going to say open and then click on upload. So this should upload the artifact. See that it is uploaded 88 percentage, 90 percentage. It should get completed in few seconds. So the upload is complete. Now the upload is tagged as hello YouTube resource or hello YouTube source, right? And I'm going to hit the create environment. So this is going to create a AWS Elastic Beanstalk environment with the EC2 instance along with the code deployed. So this is how we deploy our application by creating a new configuration right from scratch. So if you see here, this is what happened. So when we are first deploying the application, it just created a Elastic Beanstalk instance and it creates a EC2 instance and deploys the web application there. Also notice that it says using the Elastic whatever name as the Amazon S3 storage bucket for environment data. So this is because we need to store the web application var file somewhere, right? So that is where the S3 is useful, and also some other metadata can be stored inside the S3 object store. So that is what is happening as a part of the creation of the environment. So the next thing what happened was creation of a security group. So this group is created in order to secure your EC2 instance inside the Beanstalk. So you can have specific groups connected to this particular EC2 instance who can log into this particular instance. So that is what this is. So by default it is creating some default group. Then it creates an IP address, and that IP address is what will be configured in the Elastic load balancer so that our requests are all routed to the web application. So environment health is transition to pending, so which basically means the environment is coming up. So the Spring Boot application inside the Tomcat is now coming up. So once it is up, we should be able to see a URL, and once we hit the URL, we should be able to access our web service. So the URL got generated here. Let's try hitting the URL. So this URL is the Elastic load balancing URL, which will redirect our request to the web application where our application is deployed. So let's see if the URL is up. Yep, see that the Spring Boot error message comes here, and this is deployed in Elastic Beanstalk. See the URL, this is deployed in Mumbai. So I have the Mumbai data center configured by default. So I have it deployed in Mumbai. So it says successfully launched successfully. So here you can see the successful message, successfully launched environment hello YouTube. So I'm going to call the hello restos and see that hello from YouTube has come. Hello from YouTube is getting printed. Now if I use the actuators, I'm going to use the actuator health, which will just display the health of the process. Actuator. So this should say status is up. Yeah. So the actuators are also working. My new health endpoint, my new rest endpoint is also working, which is the hello one. So this is how you can deploy a web service onto a Elastic Beanstalk instance. So like how I did from the UI, you can also use command line interface. There is a command line interface specific to the AWS Elastic Beanstalk, which is EB. So you can use EB and then create the environment on the fly and then deploy as well. So that way you can automate your continuous delivery. I hope you guys understood how I created a Elastic Beanstalk instance and deployed our application into the Elastic Beanstalk instance. Do let me know if you want to see any different flavors of these in the comment section below. As always, if you like the video, go ahead and like it. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, go ahead and subscribe to it. Meet you again in the next video. Thank you very much.